What would happen if, in an instant, the world as we know it changed forever? Imagine cities vanishing in blinding flashes, societies crumbling under chaos, and the very fabric of civilization torn apart. It's a scenario that's been explored in fiction, but what does science say about our chances of survival in nuclear war? Hello and welcome to Curiosity, where we explore fascinating and interesting topics about everything. Today we're venturing into a subject that's both chilling and critical: the survival of humanity if nuclear war breaks out. According to a study published in the New England Journal of Medicine, the risk of nuclear war has increased to levels not seen since the Cold War. The doomsday clock, a symbolic representation of humanity's proximity to existential threats, now stands at 90 seconds to midnight. This stark warning comes from experts who believe that current nuclear arms control efforts are insufficient to protect us from the threat of nuclear war by design, error, or miscalculation. The consequences of a nuclear war would be catastrophic. A limited nuclear exchange involving just 250 of the world's 13,000 nuclear weapons could kill 120 million people outright. The aftermath would not just be a local or regional problem, the effects would ripple across the globe. A study in Nature Food highlights that soot from nuclear detonations would disrupt the Earth's climate, leading to reduced food production and potentially causing mass food shortages worldwide. In the face of such devastation, could any nation survive? A study in the journal Risk Analysis suggests that island nations like Australia and New Zealand might be best positioned to weather the storm thanks to their ability to produce enough food post-catastrophe. However, even these countries would face immense challenges. The impact on global food security would be dire. The same study in Nature Food estimates that over 5 billion people could starve to death following a nuclear war between the United States and Russia. The resulting nuclear winter would harm agriculture, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, where most of the world's food is produced. So what can be done to prevent such a disaster? Health professionals and scientists are calling for urgent action to prevent any use of nuclear weapons. They argue that the abolition of nuclear arsenals is a public health priority, as stated in Time magazine. The health community, which played a decisive role during the Cold War, is once again raising its voice to alert the public and leaders to this major danger. But it's not just up to the experts. Each of us has a role to play in advocating for peace and supporting policies that reduce the risk of nuclear conflict. Public awareness and pressure can lead to change, and history has shown that grassroots movements can influence global policy. As we consider the potential for catastrophe, we also reflect on the resilience of humanity. Throughout history, we have faced and overcome great challenges. The threat of nuclear war is no different. It requires a collective effort, a commitment to dialogue, and a dedication to peace. The stakes could not be higher. The survival of humanity hangs in the balance, dependent on our choices and actions today. We must ask ourselves, what kind of world do we want to leave for future generations? A world of conflict and destruction, or one of cooperation and peace? Let's delve deeper into the potential effects of a nuclear war. The immediate aftermath of a nuclear explosion is an intense burst of radiation, primarily gamma rays and neutrons, which can be lethal up to a mile from the blast. The MIT press reader reveals that the fireball created by a nuclear detonation can grow rapidly, reaching a mile in diameter within seconds, and the thermal flash can ignite fires and cause severe burns over a vast distance. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists paints a grim picture of the aftermath, where even a small nuclear war could result in widespread destruction and long-term ecological damage. The initial blast would kill millions, and the subsequent nuclear winter would drastically shorten the growing season for plants, leading to global crop failures and starvation for billions. Forbes echoes this sentiment, stating that the immediate deaths from the blasts would be followed by weeks of lower temperatures and altered weather patterns, further exacerbating the crisis in food production and distribution. Historical examples, such as the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, provide a stark reminder of the human cost of nuclear weapons. The International Committee of the Red Cross reports that tens of thousands died instantly, with many more succumbing to injuries and radiation sickness in the following weeks and months. These examples underscore the importance of nuclear disarmament and the need for global cooperation to prevent such a catastrophe. The survival of humanity in the face of nuclear war is not guaranteed, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure that such a future never comes to pass. In addition to the effects of nuclear war, let's look at some theories and ideas about the impact of nuclear weapons on world conflicts. The Oxford Research Encyclopedia of Politics talks about different ideas on how having nuclear weapons might change the way countries interact during conflicts. One main idea is called classical deterrence theory, which suggests that nuclear weapons can prevent wars because countries are afraid of the consequences. This theory is divided into two parts, one that looks at the big picture of how countries behave, and another that focuses on the decisions leaders make. Another interesting idea is the nuclear irrelevancy thesis, which questions whether nuclear weapons really stop conflicts or not. This idea looks at different situations, like when both countries have nuclear weapons, when only one does, and when a country with nuclear weapons promises to protect a country without them. Studies using data from the International Crisis Behavior Project show that when nuclear weapons are involved, conflicts are less likely to turn violent, and the more countries with nuclear weapons that are involved, the less likely a war will happen. The annual review of political science reviews research on what nuclear weapons mean for international conflicts. It says that nuclear weapons have changed international relations a lot, and it's important to look at the evidence carefully to keep humanity safe. The review also points out the challenges in studying the effects of nuclear weapons and suggests areas for future research. Science Daily talks about simulated scenarios where nuclear explosions could cause huge fires, sending smoke into the upper atmosphere and blocking the sun. This could lead to crop failures all over the world. This study shows how important it is to think about the global effects of nuclear conflicts when making policies about nuclear weapons. Lastly, the NTI paper on global effects of nuclear conflict looks at how much soot would be created from city fires after nuclear explosions and what could happen next. It talks about the possibility of a nuclear winter, where the Earth gets much cooler, showing how far-reaching the effects of a nuclear war could be. That's all for today's episode. Thank you for watching Curiosity. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. And don't forget to share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.